All right, so I just finished my hour lesson with a student, and this student is working on higher level reading skills. So they're not working on phonics a whole lot. They're working on phonics for spelling, but they can read and they can comprehend. And we worked on several things this morning. I think the biggest probably thing that I see with most of the students that I work with is that they just need more practice with the skills that they're already learning. And this is a homeschooling family, so I get to see him in the mornings, and that's why I get crazy hair like this. But I am in the process, let's see here, finishing up my notes for the day. And so that is my calendar, and on my calendar then I go in and I type down the notes that I've had. Then I'm on Tuesday, so I have 4 more appointments this afternoon. So I will start at 4:30 this afternoon and wrap up around 7 o'clock. And then is not quite as full of a day. So my husband and I, we will be going over to into Omaha to meet my daughter for lunch. And I'm hoping that our son is coming with, and we'll be celebrating her birthday, which is today. And so I'm really excited about that. But in the meantime, today's a pretty nice day. And I need to actually get outside and pick up a few branches that have fallen out of the trees, spend a little time with our dogs, and do some of that before I get busy. And sitting down at this desk for that long is really too long. So I'm going to wrap this part of the video up, and maybe you can come along for the outside work as well. All right, so I just finished my hour lesson with a student, and this student is working on higher level reading skills. So they're not working on phonics a whole lot. They're working on phonics for spelling, but they can read and they can comprehend. And we worked on several things this morning. I think the biggest probably thing that I see with most of the students that I work with is that they just need more practice with the skills that they're already learning. And this is a homeschooling family, so I get to see him in the mornings, and that's why I get crazy hair like this. But I am in the process, let's see here, finishing up my notes for the day. And so that is my calendar, and on my calendar then I go in and I type down the notes that I've had. Then I'm on Tuesday, so I have 4 more appointments this afternoon. So I will start at 4:30 this afternoon and wrap up around 7 o'clock. And then is not quite as full of a day. So my husband and I, we will be going over to into Omaha to meet my daughter for lunch. And I'm hoping that our son is coming with, and we'll be celebrating her birthday, which is today. And so I'm really excited about that. But in the meantime, today's a pretty nice day. And I need to actually get outside and pick up a few branches that have fallen out of the trees, spend a little time with our dogs, and do some of that before I get busy. And sitting down at this desk for that long is really too long. So I'm going to wrap this part of the video up, and maybe you can come along for the outside work as well. So my plan to go outside and work kind of failed because it's kind of misting and it's actually 30 degrees. And I thought it was supposed to be warmer today. So rather than go outside and pick up sticks like I had planned, and yes, I did spend a little time with my dogs, I am going to work on some bread. And one of the things that I really enjoy doing is making artisanal breads or whatever, artisanal breads, whatever. I don't even know how to say it. So I'm going to get all my supplies ready, and then I will check back with you and show you the progress. And maybe I should probably do something with my hair. I have like tutor hair, and I have to be someplace at 1 o'clock today. So you might see me with a different head of hair on too as well. Recipe that I'm going to be using, and it comes from, let's see, do we have the name of the, I'm going to go back over here to the actual website so that you guys can go there yourself. And this is it. Citrine Living, Inspiring Your Everyday. So this is the recipe that I am currently printing out. And these are the directions that, first of all, we need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Your water does need adjusting depending on which one you use. A tablespoon of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of sea salt or coarse salt, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 1.5 to 2 cups warm water. A touch warmer than room temperature is fine. When using all-purpose flour, you need more water, close to 2 cups. If using bread or Italian flour, use around 1.5. That should be fine. You can adjust according as you mixed. So start with less and work your way up. So it says mix the dry ingredients in a large bowl, add the warm water and 1 tablespoon of olive oil, mix everything with a silicone spatula or wooden spoon if you prefer. I use a wooden spoon. Scraping the sides of the bowl, your dough will be sticky and shaggy. The author says, as I mentioned above, if you're using all-purpose flour, I find 2 cups of water is needed. With bread or Italian flour, 1.5 should be fine. Whichever flour you are using, start with less water and add more as needed if it's too dry. Optional. Drizzle the remaining tablespoon of olive oil over the top of your dough. I never actually measured this. I just pour it over the top. Cover the bowl with plastic wrap and a tea towel. Place it in a warm spot to rise. I like to use the oven with the light turned on. You can leave it at room temperature as well if you prefer. After about 2 hours, your dough should be double in size and it's ready. Place the covered Dutch oven in the middle rack of the oven and heat to 450. You want the pot to be hot. I always do the pot first. Then I take the pot out. Place the sheet of parchment paper to the side of your work, large enough to fit in the Dutch oven. Lightly flour your work surface. Using a spatula, scrape the dough onto your work surface. The dough will be wet, loose, and oily. Don't worry. Sprinkle some flour over the top of your dough. With your bench scraper or silicone spatula, fold the dough over onto itself in half, repeating 4 or 5 times from each side, shaping as you work until a rough ball shape is formed. Using the scraper or spatula, gently pick it up and transfer your dough to the center of the parchment paper. If you need to reshape it, that's fine. When your oven has reached 450 degrees, carefully remove the Dutch oven and remove the lid. Pick up the corners of the parchment paper and transfer your dough to the Dutch oven. Carefully cover the Dutch oven with the lid and place it into the oven. After 30 minutes, carefully remove the lid and continue to bake for another 5 to 10 minutes. Remove the Dutch oven, place on the stovetop, and carefully lift the bread by grabbing the corners of the parchment paper. Place onto a cool rack and let it cool slightly before cutting. Slice and serve with room temperature butter or anything your heart desires. Now, I'm making this just for us to enjoy. I might maybe give it away. I don't know. We'll see. But I enjoy doing it, and this is very similar to the previous recipe that I had. And so I'm going to gather all of my ingredients, and then we'll switch over to my phone so that you can actually see what I'm doing. So let's stop this recording. I got to pull this down. And hey friends, it's Sheryl from Tutoring with Sheryl, and I'm on that long trip on the road, and so I'm just going to look straight ahead and talk to you while I'm driving. But you know, I haven't done a check-in lately to kind of let you know how things are going with my small business, and to tell you just kind of what's new in my life. So as I drive, I'm just going to chat to you. I had lessons this morning. I've got 11 kids. I thought I was going to have a 12th one. Had a great interview with a family. She was convinced that I was the right person for her. And then sadly, and I was kind of sad about it, she said that it wasn't going to work. And she just said that my schedule didn't work for their schedule. And you know what? That's a good thing to know in advance. I told her I would be willing to do 6-week planning for lessons because that's what she needed. That her child was already getting assistance from an OG tutor for an hour per week. And she said it just wasn't working. And I said, well, how often are you meeting with the tutor? And she said, well, they really hadn't been meeting consistently. And I said, okay, well, I can be consistent with you, but I am taking next week off to take a trip. But after that, I'll be around and I can help you. Well, that didn't fly. So it's okay, because I am, you know, I think I'm for somebody and I'm not for somebody. And clearly I wasn't a good fit for this family. They didn't want to hear that I was taking a vacation. I don't really blame them, honestly. But my husband and I, we've had this planned for 3 or 4 months already. So I wasn't going to change my schedule. We already have our plane tickets. We're going to Texas. So that's just what's going to happen. And, you know, the rest of my families know that I'm consistent. I have the kids work hard. The kids are all learning and progressing in school. And since I really don't take any time off during the summer once I get things going, you know, I think they appreciate it. And honestly, whatever help I give them is more help than what their parents are giving them. And that's kind of how I look at it. Everything that I do with them is an extra boost. You know, now, unfortunately, this summer, and I have to let my parents know that the first 2 weeks in June are going to be family time. And that is because I've got family that's moving back to Nebraska. So I'm very excited about it. My kids have bought a house in Ashland community, and they will be moving in, and they need help with the kids. And I'm just going to be available because that's what we do as parents, right? our kids. And so I am looking forward to that. I really am winding down my support on the Tech Up for Tutors. I sent out a message yesterday via email asking anybody in the group if they wanted to meet this month in February. I told them I had time today, tomorrow, and Thursday. I gave them some parameters at the time that I had if they just wanted to meet and chat and get caught up, and I didn't hear back from anybody, so I'm assuming they're okay with the program the way that it's going. But I try to make myself available to them and see if they would like to meet and chat. I am very excited because I have not spoken to Kelly Michelle Duramsky. She runs Kelly's Reading Club up in Ontario. I believe it's in Leslieville, and we were meeting once a month for forever. And she's got a daughter, I believe he's in either 6th or 7th grade now, and so she's pretty busy with her daughter, and she's also very busy. I mean, I think she's probably got 40, 50 kids. She might have more than that by now. I don't know. I'm very excited to hear things, how things are going for her. She meets with kids in person, and she's hired tutors. That's not the model that I want to run. I don't want to do all of that. I'm past that. If I was 10 years younger, I would definitely do that. But I think you just get to the point in your life where you have to decide what is it that you want to do and what don't you want to do, and I don't want to do that. I have picked up a few hobbies. As I'm kind of winding down my Tech Up for Tutors, and I will be supporting that through May of this year of 2026. But as I'm winding that support down and not running a Facebook page, and I'm not doing anything on my Facebook group, I shut that all down because it was taking a lot of time. I just discovered that I have time for other things. So my husband and I are putting together a YouTube page called The Empty Nest. And so that is, we just put our first video out. We took a little trip over to Iowa. You know, my filmmaking skills are never really whoopee, but it is kind of fun to just talk to people and show them what we're up to. And so I shared it. My sister couldn't find my page yet, and I said, you know what, Sheryl, I just put that out like 48 hours ago, so it's probably not even out and available yet, because it usually takes about 24 to 48 hours before things are actually visible for other people. But I shared the video with her, and she watched it. And then let's see here. So we thought we could just kind of videotape things around the farm and things that we're doing as empty nesters. Why not? Because we know there's other people our age out there that are looking for inspiration and things to do. So I've just been doing short little videos on my phone, and you know, what am I up to and what does my day look like, so that other people can kind of get a sense of what does it look like when the kids leave home. I mean, it is kind of tragic when it first happens, because you're like, oh my gosh, all the kids are gone, now what? And you look at your husband or your spouse or your whatever you have at home, or maybe you're home by yourself, I don't know, and you begin to wonder. But go over and check out The Empty Nest. I've got our first video up, and today I've been working on our second video, and the video that I'm making today was all about my morning tutoring, and how I was going to go outside and I was going to work on the lawn, and then it was kind of 30 degrees Fahrenheit and cold, so that's cold, and it was misty, and I thought, nope, I'm going to do that tomorrow. So because tomorrow's supposed to be 55. So I thought, okay, that can wait till tomorrow. I'm going to make a loaf of bread because I enjoy making this artisanal bread. Artisanal, I don't know how to say it. I should know how to say that. Should I look that up? I should look that up. Oh, anyway. And I couldn't find my original recipe, and I wrote it in a notebook, and I think I accidentally threw the notebook away, which I'm really upset about because I had several recipes in there that I was like, I really liked. So I found another one. It wasn't quite like what I had done, and I was supposed to actually be baking that loaf of bread right now, but I got a call from our local tire guy who I had ordered tires from, and he said, come on down, I can put the tires on. So now I'm off to go put the tires on. But that's one of my hobbies, not putting tires on, but baking bread. And then another thing that I'm just going to get started, I have no clue how this is going to go. You know, do you remember the paint by numbers as a kid? And you would try these paint by numbers, and then you thought, oh my gosh, how do I do that? I just passed my husband, and he's like, who are you talking to? I just saw him on the road. So anyway, I got a paint by numbers, but it was a paint by numbers that is my daughter's wedding picture. So I had it digitized, and it's supposed to be coming this week. And I'm going to try something out of my comfort zone. I am not a crafty person. I'm not. I would love to be a crafty person, but I'm not. And so I'm going to give that a shot and see how it goes. I'm going to try to stretch myself in ways that are uncomfortable, and that would be uncomfortable for me. And yeah, so just trying some new things that I don't normally do. And yeah, so that's probably about it on my business front. But again, the lifestyle has really worked out quite well for my husband and I. I remember starting this journey 3.5 years ago, and I was as I was retiring from the school, and I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Should I be doing this? I'm making a mistake. Am I making a mistake? I can't be making a mistake because I'm just so tired of being in the classroom. And guess what? I didn't make a mistake. This was the best decision I ever made. Now, what I'm going to tell you is, if you're listening to me for the first time and you're like, wait, what did she do? Yes, I'm a reading tutor. I meet with kids online, 100% online. I no longer go into their homes. And you're like, wait, how did she do that? I want you to go and binge watch my YouTube page at Tutoring with Sheryl and at the Tech Hub for Tutors, and you'll get all kinds of information about how I actually made that happen. And I don't take it lightly. Like, I worked really hard to set this up, and it was really out of necessity to have a job, but the want of having a job that I didn't have to drive to work, or drive from person to place to place. Finally got it out. And I also didn't have to make a lot of materials, because when you go into somebody's house, you have to come with a lot of materials with you, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. It was like, it was another expense. And so I've been able to save money by tutoring online. It's very efficient. My parents are very happy. If they want print material, I send it to them in advance. They can print it out. The kid can see it in print, and voila, there we are. So things are going well. I'm really happy with where things are at, and yeah, I guess that's it. So I'm going to wrap things up here. But make sure that you go and check out my 2 YouTube pages. Leave some comments. Ask for more. Ask for what you want to see. I'll give you the behind the scenes look. And if you want to see it here, make sure that you leave a comment about that as well. Okay, you guys, I'm going to sound off now. Make it a great day, and keep the learning going. All right, I just finished up at Red's Tire. My new tires are on. Woo! My new tires are on. Well, let's try and fix that. Let's give it a shot and see how it goes. Well, it's already feeling better. Ooh, I peeled out. There we go. Huh. It sounds better too. All right, so I think the $1,500 I just spent on new tires might be worth it. I think it's going to come down to gas mileage. We were getting pretty good gas mileage with the other tires. And by the way, it only took an hour. I showed up, actually it took 57 minutes, and that was with him talking to me at the end. And it was funny because then he was asking me about my tutoring job, and he's just like, wow, you know, he was asking me how many students I had, and I didn't teach him, but I taught his brother, and I knew his folks, and he was just asking me some questions about my tutoring business, and like, well, how many students do you have? And I said, well, I thought I had 12, but then I had a parent back out on me after they called me, so I was counting her, but I have 11. And he goes, wow, I bet you really help a lot of kids. And I go, well, you know, all the kids that are asking me for services all need help. Their parents have found me, so they do need my help. But wow, this is quieter. I feel like there's maybe a little bit too much air in them. We usually keep ours at about 35. So I feel like they've got them all the way up to 45. So I feel like there's maybe a little bit too much air pressure in them. But as far as like being quiet, it feels quieter. The true test is going to be on the gravel road. We'll check that out in a minute. All right, I just finished up at Red's Tire. My new tires are on. Woo! My new tires are on. Well, let's try and fix that. Let's give it a shot and see how it goes. Well, it's already feeling better. Ooh, I peeled out. There we go. Huh. It sounds better too. All right, so I think the $1,500 I just spent on new tires might be worth it. I think it's going to come down to gas mileage. We were getting pretty good gas mileage with the other tires. And by the way, it only took an hour. I showed up, actually it took 57 minutes, and that was with him talking to me at the end. And it was funny because then he was asking me about my tutoring job. And he's just like, wow, you know, he was asking me how many students I had, and I didn't teach him, but I taught his brother, and I knew his folks, and he was just asking me some questions about my tutoring business, and like, well, how many students do you have? And I said, well, I thought I had 12, but then I had a parent back out on me after they'd called me, so I was counting her, but I have 11. And he goes, wow, I bet you really help a lot of kids. And I go, well, you know, all the kids that are asking me for services all need help. Their parents have found me, so they do need my help. But wow, this is quieter. I feel like there's maybe a little bit too much air in them. We usually keep ours at about 35. So I feel like they've got them all the way up to 45. So I feel like there's maybe a little bit too much air pressure in them. But as far as like being quiet, it feels quieter. The true test is going to be on the gravel road. We'll check that out in a minute. All right, I'm on a gravel road. Can you tell? I feel like this is so much quieter with my new tires on. And so I'm really, really happy with not only the service, but the outcome and the choice of tires that I put on the car. So yay, new tires for the win. Okay, just to give you a sense of how long my lane is, my husband and I live at the end of this lane, and this is what city people call their driveway. Big cracks are because we haven't had a lot of snow this winter, and so that's basically the freezing and the cooling of the ground. So when I walk down to the end of the lane to get the mail in the summer, it usually takes me about 15 minutes to walk down there. All right, I turned this loaf out onto the counter with a little bit of flour. I flipped it a couple times, and then I put a little sprinkle of flour on top with some sea salt. And right now the oven is warming to 450 degrees, and we're going to plop that in there for about 35, maybe 40 minutes, and then take the top off for a few more minutes and brown it up. All right, the loaf of bread might have gotten just a little bit too done right here, and I didn't score the top of it like I normally do, but it just came out of the oven. It is piping hot. There we go. Yep, it's done. That looks great. Awesome. We'll have to decide if we're going to give this away as a gift or have it as part of our supper. I have a feeling we'll probably have it as part of our supper, but ooh, look at that. That is amazing. Can't wait. It's not a super big loaf. Compared to my hand, you can see about how big it is. My hands aren't that big, but okay. There we go. Nice size for a loaf of bread. Good for snacking, good for making a sandwich with. That would be a good thing. Percentage. Okay, can you say the word percentage? Percentage. There you go. Okay. Word number 2 is comprehensive. Comprehensive means very detailed, very complete. Comprehensive. Very good. Your third word is positive. To be positive means that you have a good outlook on things. Positive. Okay, nice. And your last word is intentional. To be intentional means to have a plan of action and to follow through. Intentional. To do something on purpose, with purpose. Intentional. Okay. INTENTIONAL. Yep, you got it. Nicely done.